Hey guys, Leash here. Wanted to jump in and do a live about how to get people to pay $90 a session. Now, often we talk a little bit about, charging what you're worth and that kind of stuff. And I don't really want to discuss that today. What I want to talk about is how to charge $90 a session and be totally congruent with that, and how to go about it. If you're charging a lot less, how do you go about that? And we talk to therapists all the time who are really scared to put themselves out there. They're really scared of charging more. They might be charging $50, $60 for a session and not have enough clients, and feel like if I put my prices up, that means that I'm actually people are not gonna pay it, and they're gonna be really struggling forever. But here's the thing, after speaking with literally, I think we're close to 600 therapists that I've spoken to in the last 2.5, 3 years, I have not spoken to anybody who's charging $90 an hour or more who is really scraping the bottom of the barrel for bookings. And this has been proven time and time again. So for example, and price is totally perception. What people perceive as being expensive, what people perceive as being valuable, what people perceive as being, really on point, what they're willing to spend money on is completely the perception that we have, and it's our map of that. And so what tends to happen is that we have a perception of what we think is expensive based on our circumstances, maybe based on being a student and just starting your business and cash flow's not up there. So I'll charge something that I can afford, and then people will come on board because of that. And the thing is, it just doesn't work. It literally, I talked yesterday about the tail wagging the dog. That's what it's like. And so what we want to do is flip that to go, cool. People who are investing in massage or myotherapy treatments are not struggling to put food on the table. Now, we know as therapists how epic our treatments are and how epic it is when we get great results with people. But the thing is, nobody is going to take money off their table to come in and see you, or food off their table to come and see you as a practitioner to get their back or their neck or shoulders fixed. We're good, but we're not that good. The thing is though, guys, what we tend to do is that we take money off our table in order to look after our clients, because it isn't actually sustainable to be charging $50 and $60 a massage. It's just not sustainable in the long term. And that is how I find, hey Lisa, great to have you on here. That is how I find people burn out, is that they actually don't value what they do well enough, and so they tend to not charge enough money. Now, the thing is that most people who are accessing massage usually have private health insurance, a second car, a gym membership, and they're not scraping the bottom of the barrel in order to be able to come in and see you. However, there will always be one or two exceptions to the rule in your business. And what we tend to do is we have a couple of people that we know who are really struggling, really struggling, not just a little bit, but really struggling. And we know that we can help them, and that massage is going to make a big difference. And then we judge our entire database based on those one or two people. And so what I invite you guys to be thinking about is to be thinking about and think about what it would be like to actually look at the people who maybe rock up in a BMW, or maybe come to their appointment dressed in some classy clothes. What if you based your database on them and based your prices on them, rather than the people who was, yeah, I love it. I love it. That's awesome. I'll read that in a second, Lisa. What if you charge what they would expect to see? Because if somebody is not going to pay $70 for a massage, or they're not going to pay $80 for a massage, or if we flip that, if somebody is going to pay $70 or $80 for a massage, they're going to pay $90. It's not, I've never gone to my chiro or my osteo or a practitioner and thought, oh geez, now, the thing is with our prices is that we put them everywhere. You put them on Facebook. Facebook now has an option to put your services and what you charge. You put them on your website. Absolutely put them out there, so that if anybody is price sensitive, they can go somewhere else, because they're probably not a values match to you. We speak to heaps of therapists who try the Groupon, Scoopon kind of deals, and often get really burnt out, because they basically have to just keep churning out these cheap massages. And people who buy one cheap massage often, not always, but often won't invest in more treatment and pay full price. And so Scoopon kind of get you in saying, oh yeah, no, do this cheap deal, and people will come back. And I mean, sometimes they do, which is great. Sometimes they don't. So it's really important that you value what you do. It's also important that you charge what you're worth, because people will pay it. And they're often, if money is a stretch for you right now, then you're not looking for you as your target market right now in this space. Because if you're the sort of person that invests in their health, and usually we are as health leaders, it's like, you go and have different treatments. You go and have different styles of massages. You go and meet different people. You invest in your health. Spending $80, $90, $100, $120 on your treatment is not going to be a massive stretch, and it's not going to stress you out, and you're not even going to consider it. And it's really interesting. Okay, I ran a clinic for 16 years, and I was very price sensitive. I was so scared to put up our prices by $2. And I remember having this price rise and freaking out about it, and no one cared. Like, not one person lifted an eyebrow or said anything or refused to come. In fact, our bookings went up. We got more. And I've seen this, just like Lisa's pointed out here, going from $70 an hour to $90 was really scary for me, but in the end was only scary for me, not my clients. As long as you give an exceptional treatment, they'll keep coming back. I love that, Lisa. We've got so many examples of this time and time again. I remember Chloe, who we've got a case study of on our website, she was doing relaxation massage, studied remedial, decided she would charge $90 a session for her remedial, and was charging $75 a session for her relaxation. Now, the really interesting thing was that 99% of people booked in at $90. They had the opportunity to come in cheaper, and they opted in for the 90-minute session, the $90 session, sorry. We've got another therapist with work, Christine, who went from, instead of increasing her prices because she's charging what she's worth, she actually looked at what she could do if she upgraded people to a 90-minute massage. So she was still doing the same amount of hours, but less changeover time, less lag time in between treatments, less laundry, etc. So she now sees, I think it's about 80% of her clients come in for 90 minutes. Now, this was a brilliant upgrade because, again, if people are struggling, we always had a very, very, very reasonable rate for 30-minute concession holders. So if you were a concession holder and you still needed a massage, we were charging, I think we're charging $97 an hour, and I was booked out for 3 months from that. However, as we know, not everybody has that, and we were willing to charge what we were worth, and people were willing to pay it. Occasionally, like I said, we weren't judging our entire database on this, but occasionally somebody else needed to be able to come in. So, I think it was only like $37 for a half-hour massage for a concession holder, which meant, or a student. So it's like we were still able to take care of people, but we were still able to absolutely charge what we were worth. And that's what I want for you guys. I want you guys to be really comfortable charging $90 a session or more, because, when you go on cruise ships, for those who've worked on cruise ships would know that they charge up to $250 a session. Remember, it is all perception. It is the perception that we have. It's a limited amount of massages. There's only a certain amount of treatments that can get done on a cruise. There's a certain amount of people there. So it's scarcity, which is a great way to market, guys. So if you're putting out there, I've got 2 appointments available this week on Thursday. Doesn't matter if you've got 50 appointments, just highlight the 2 because scarcity works really, really well. It's all about perception. It's like, you don't need to apologize for the fact that you charge what you do. Now, I've never gone to Aldi or Safeway or Woolies, for the rest of you, or Coles, and had the person behind the counter apologize that my peas cost more this week than they did last week, ever. Because it's actually my job as a consumer to choose if I'm going to do a $30 shop or if I'm going to do a $300 shop. And it's the same for your clients. It's actually up to them to choose if you are the right therapist for them based on what you're worth, based on what you charge, and based on what they know their circumstances is. It's not your obligation to actually charge what you think they can afford. You should be charging what you need to. And look, you might have seen the formula that we've got for how to make a six-figure income as a massage therapist. Hey, Belinda, great to have you on here. The way that you do it is basically charge $90 a session, see 25 clients a week, across 48 weeks of the year, which is $108,000. Now, I get that there's a whole heap of work required to do that, right? But ultimately, it's actually possible to do that. It is possible to make a 6-figure income, which is $108,000 as a solo practitioner working from home. We've got clients who do it all the time. No, that doesn't mean that is what is in your pocket. Of course, you've got to pay tax and GST and super and, holidays and expenses and all that kind of stuff. However, most therapists only turn over less than minimum wage. So actually turnover from the research we've done and what we know from other research tools is that they're only turning over less than minimum wage, so less than $18,000 a year. Even if you have to pay you have to pay GST and expenses out of $108,000. It's pretty cool. It's a massive shift, a massive difference, just from starting by being willing to charge what you're actually worth and just putting that out there, knowing that people who wish to invest in their health are going to be awesome clients and they're going to be who you want to attract into your business. Any questions, post your comments below, guys. Really awesome to be able to have you on this live. Thanks heaps for joining in, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on our next live.